Welcome back to the PhoneGap Essentials course on NetTuts Plus Premium. In this lesson, we're going to be integrating the jQuery mobile framework into our PhoneGap application. jQuery Mobile gives us user interface tools that are optimized for touch screens, such as tablets and smartphones. It is lightweight, flexible, and easy to customize its design. It's no wonder that most of the examples I showed you of PhoneGap applications back in Lesson 1 were based upon jQuery Mobile. As it is targeted at the latest smartphone devices, jQuery Mobile is able to make use of HTML5 and CSS3 features. However, you'll notice from their browser support page that their support is very wide across many different devices and operating systems. And they also have a backup to cover some of the older platforms. Let's download the package and get started. To make sure we get everything we need, scroll down a bit and under zip file we'll download the entire jQuery mobile zip. This will include JavaScript, CSS and images. Here's the jQuery mobile zip on my desktop. Double click to extract it and open up the folder. We're going to need just a few of these files to get our project working. Open up your workspace, go into your project folder, and into the www folder. Opening up the two folders side by side, we can easily get an idea of what we need to transfer. Okay, I want you to copy the jQuery.mobile 1.2.0 min.css file, and we'll copy that into our CSS folder. Next we'll need the jQuery mobile 1.2.0 min.js file, and we'll copy that into our JS folder. Next, grab the images folder, which contains icons for jQuery Mobile. We'll take the images folder and put it in our CSS folder, so the jQuery Mobile CSS file will have access to the images. And finally, go into Demos, JS, and get the jQuery.js file. And we'll put that in our JS folder. Now this version of jQuery is 1.8.2. Technically jQuery is now up to about 1.9, but I prefer to take the version that's been packaged with jQuery Mobile to make sure that there are no compatibility issues. So just to make sure you've got everything right, this should be your structure. Your www folder should have Cordova.js, CSS folder with an images folder inside, your own index CSS, and jQuery Mobile CSS minimized. You'll have your images folder and your index file, and your JS folder should contain your index, jQuery, and jQuery Mobile minimized. So back in Eclipse or Xcode, this should be your project view. We're just going to open up a few of our files and clean them out because now that jQuery Mobile is handling our interface, there are a whole bunch of styles that we don't need to have. We'll also be changing our index.html file. So I'm actually going to delete all of my styles that I defined and have been using up until now, so we can start with a clean slate with jQuery Mobile. In index.js, I'm going to delete everything. We'll be starting from scratch here as well. And for our index.html file, I'm actually going to take an example from jQuery Mobile's documents. So back on the jQuery Mobile website, let's go and have a look at the docs. You'll notice the documents have been completely built using jQuery Mobile. This is also a great way to test out any of the features on your mobile device, as you can go to the documents, navigate with your mobile phone and see the actual elements in action. Click on Pages and Dialogues, and then a single page template. From here, I want you to view the source of the page. We're going to copy this page template and use it for our own. Back in our index.html file, I'm going to push down our template, just in case I want to copy and paste some elements from it, and paste in this new template. And just delete this content, footer, content, header. Okay, so we'll just get our Cordova reference and our index.js reference and paste them in here at the bottom. We'll also change these references here to jQuery and jQuery Mobile, which currently are referencing the hosted version on the web. For our application, we'll need to keep a local copy. So here I've created a reference to our JS folder, jQuery.js, and jQuery Mobile. We'll need to do the same for our CSS reference. So here you can see now our reference to the jQuery Mobile CSS is local. And we'll also copy in our index.css file for making our own customizations. Let's test this page in our emulator to see how it's working. But before we do that, let's not forget to delete our old template. And there you have it. There's our header element, our body, and our footer element. Let's take a look at the anatomy of a jQuery mobile page. The one thing you'll notice is that there are no classes or IDs. Now, while we can insert classes and IDs as much as we want to further customize our jQuery mobile template and to make JavaScript calls, jQuery Mobile uses the data role attribute to decide how each of its elements are going to look. You'll find references to all of these data roles in the jQuery Mobile docs. So a header and a footer both get styled in this way to look like the header of a mobile application. Now, let's go into our index.js file and start creating our application methods. Since we have to wait for two different frameworks to be ready before we start, we're going to have to package our application a little bit differently. We'll start by wrapping everything in the jQuery ready wrapper. Code executed inside this wrapper will only start once jQuery is ready. In here we can start creating our app object. Remember, the application object is one single object that contains all of the properties and methods that make up our application. So we'll start with the initialize method. This we'll call the bind events method. Bind events, as you may remember, always sets up on the document a listener for the device ready, which will be fired by Cordova. And inside that device ready callback is where we can start executing code for our application. We'll start with a console command to say that Cordova is ready. And up here, we'll create one to tell us that jQuery is ready. In this way, we can test to see if everything is working correctly. jQuery should be called first, and then Cordova ready. And let's not forget to call the initialization function. And here's the app executed in Eclipse. As you can see from the console log, we called jQuery is ready, and then later we called Cordova ready. So our application is working correctly, integrated with jQuery Mobile. Now let's try something fun. From your jQuery Mobile docs, go to the section on list views. If you look at some of the examples, you'll see that list view is a jQuery method for creating different types of lists. There are many different options, and you can even include images, titles and subtitles. if you click on List Basics, we can see the basic structure of a list. It's really just a normal HTML list, but with the data role of list view. So let's create a list view in our application. From our index file, go inside our content area, and I've just copy and pasted the code from jQuery mobile docs. If I put many elements in, we can have a look at a proper list. Let's export that and see how it looks. Well, this is looking great. As you can see, it looks like a list view from a real native application. The performance will also be a lot faster on a real device. The emulator is notoriously slow. Instead of hard coding this list directly into our HTML, let's leave the UL empty. We'll give it an ID, and we'll populate it with some live data taken from the internet. How about we fill it up with some tweets using the Twitter API? We'll call it our tweet list. Go to dev.twitter.com/docs/API and click on the REST API version 1. If you scroll down the list, you'll find a section called Search. Let's click on this one. The Search API will allow us to pass to a certain URL some variables such as a search keyword and the number of tweets we want to receive, and we'll get in return a JSON object full of all the information of those tweets. If we copy and paste this URL here, you'll find it returns a long JSON object full of tweets. Back in our JavaScript file, we're going to make an AJAX call to that URL to retrieve those tweets and load them into our list. To do this, we can use the jQuery getJSON method. So we need to pass in a URL of the JSON we want to retrieve, and then a function, which gets passed a data object. Our search term is tutorial, and we want to get back 20 results. And we're using search.twitter.com/search. Now from these tweets, using a loop, we're going to compose a piece of HTML to insert into our list view. So we'll start with an empty string called tweet list HTML. And now we need to create our loop. So for every element in the data.results array, we're going to add a li HTML element to our tweet list HTML. Each li will have inside of it the user of the tweet. Next, we need a reference to our list view container. Remember we called it tweet list? We'll use jQuery to get a reference to that. And now we need to add this HTML to our tweet list. So here, using jQuery, we're setting the HTML of our tweet list to tweet list HTML. And let's not forget to add in A tags to our list. The list view has a very specific structural requirement, and each list item must be a link. Okay, so we can see here that it is printing our elements to the list view, but they don't seem to be styled in the right way. When we update a list view in jQuery Mobile, we have to refresh that list view if we want to see it correctly formatted. So let's try again. That's more like it. If you'd like an extra challenge, why not try replicating this type of layout here? We have an image, a title, and a subtitle. In our case, the image would be the user's profile image, which you can see here in the JSON, profile image URL. The title would be the username, and this subtitle here would be the tweet. You can replicate the structure found on this document item here, which is li. All of it is encapsulated with an A tag, and then we have an image, a heading tag, and a P tag. Well, that's all for the PhoneGap Essentials course, and I hope I've given you a kickstart in cross-platform mobile development. By using the APIs we've learned about, And taking advantage of powerful frameworks like jQuery Mobile, you'll be able to create fully functional and useful applications in no time. Well, that's all from me. Ciao!